urban style individual.
What's up with y'all? Hopefully this video finds you in good spirits, and if not, well, at least you not DSP. And what we have here is a brother by the name of Tony McDew. And Tony is a gambling addict that was living in Las Vegas. And while listening to this, I don't want you only thinking about Phil, because obviously we're watching this because of Phil, but I also want you thinking about yourself, because we all have something or someone that we probably should have let go a long time ago. Addiction shows itself in many forms. And a lot of times people who are in the midst of addiction are in a constant state of false idealism. You know, it's never as bad as other people say it is. They're never as strung out as people claim they are. And they often have no real idea of the collateral damage that they're causing to the people around them. So let's get into it.
I've gambled all the way to where I just had change, and I was like, okay, cash this change in, and I'll turn it into $2, and then took $2 back in. Maybe I can get that money back. And that's when you know that it's hit you pretty hard. Or when you go and you borrow more money, you go to a payday loan place or something, or a pawn shop, and you go and you pawn your computer, and then you go get the money and you go right back to the casino.
See, I think that's one element of the DSP story that people have not touched on. And that's the many ways that he's tried to keep himself afloat financially that maybe have not been disclosed. Because, you know, I think it would be crazy to think that he's never pawned something to support his habit. Because usually people who are struggling with addiction, that's one of their go-tos. And as long as they have something to give the pawn shop, you best believe they're going to be in there.
And like I said, I got to go to plan B. Plan B was now, I've lost a total of $1,000. $1,040 I've lost. I'm not very happy with that. Not only have I lost the money, but I lost 2 computers. And now I'm getting ready to go lose my camera and not lose it, but get a loan on it. And one of these days I'm hoping that maybe I will hit it big. Maybe I will be able to win $15,000 or something like that, so that where I can just, you know, pay a lot of bills off and get back on track, you know. But right now, it's very difficult. So the time right now is 4:09 in the evening. So we've been out for a couple hours now. I got off of work at 1 o'clock.
Now you obviously can sense and see the desperation that's going on with this man. You know, it's hot as hell. He in Las Vegas, and his car don't even have AC. Not because he didn't have the money to get it fixed, but because that money went to other places. And it just shows you when you're in the midst of a gambling addiction or in any addiction, where your priorities lie.
My name is Tony McDew. I'm from California, 46 years old. I've been living out here for 7 years. I got involved with gambling, and it kind of took me down. The last 7 years, I spent probably about $35,000 or more. Now I know why people go out and kill themselves. Now I know why people go and do the things that they do. And
now you hear what the man said. I don't even have to repeat it. But I also want to point out, did you see his refrigerator? Again, it goes back to priorities. This man, the last thing on his mind was what he was going to put in his stomach. It's crazy. Well, for a lot of us, that's the first thing we're thinking about.
I never experienced that until I started gambling, going through that process. I started recording myself, looking at the losses, looking at the wins, and a lot of losses. It's a visual recorder. I use it like a diary. So, you know, just recording myself was a way for me to look at myself and go, hey, you know what? You know, that was real stupid what I did. I would record myself going to pawn shops, to the casino, back to the pawn shops, supporting my habit. So now I just want to share my story with you.
See, this is where he has the one up on Phil, because you can tell that this guy is aware that this is a problem. He just doesn't have the self-control to do something about it. But he's actually recording himself in an attempt to hold himself accountable. And now we know that Phil films himself every single day, but he still acts like the things that he does, even though he recorded himself, he did not do. And I said it before, Phil would do good by having a handler. That little selfie stick, Phil, that you bought for no reason, maybe you can use that to record yourself playing WWE champions and get some real-time reactions so you can see how absolutely ridiculous your gambling addiction is.
And this is my story. hit a bonus. Action Max. My favorite machine. Action Max. And we're gonna hit the cash out button right here. Bam.
You see how addicts always have favorites? They got a favorite drug dealer. They got a favorite game. This man got a favorite machine. But this is how important these things become to them. They're not people, but they're serving the role of other people, because the people in their lives, for the most part, they get rid of, because that's where the good information is coming from. And at the time when they're in the midst of this, they don't want to hear that.
Cashing out $565. How I got hooked is just basically I put $5 in and I ended up winning like $80, and I was like, wow, this is free money. Eventually, the more money I made, the more money I would put in the machines. I started off with maybe $5. I started putting in a lot.
Now you hear what that man said? He said, wow, it's free money. Look, I got news for you. There's no such thing as free money. It doesn't exist.
Hundreds. I started putting in thousands of dollars.
1,600. I will try to count it out to you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
That's basically how I got hooked. You know, from $5 on penny machines, to spending thousands of dollars. I thought that would be a way of paying off all my debts, you know, paying all my bills. Found out that wasn't the way.
70, 71, 72. I mean, they're blowing the horn at me. I'm trying to get it all there. Here at the Palms, only here at the Palms.
Now you hear how happy he is, how much glee he has in his voice. This is the perpetual cycle of an addict. It's high highs and low lows. And they tell themselves anything to keep the cycle going. Like, again, this man just said it's pretty much free money. No, it doesn't matter if you're not paying for it. Somebody's paying for it. So therefore, it's not free.
Can you win like that, you know? Sometimes, like I said, sometimes you can lose, but feels good right now.
It's like you're getting high, and I'm not the kind of person to get high. I really can't compare it, but I would say it's like a feeling of getting high where you're on cloud nine, and no one can tell you that, hey, what you're doing is wrong. My sister brought me out here, and I was going through a divorce, so I was kind of down. The divorce was hard. After I got to Vegas kind of washed it away. If I have money, I'm definitely going to spend it. I feel that you should enjoy yourself, not just stack it up.
No, that's a sentiment that we've heard Phil echo before, right? He'll often try to minimize his behavior and say, it doesn't matter what I do because it's my money. I can do what I want, right? Well, that's true. But on the flip side, we don't want to hear you complain when things don't go your way. You know, this man said he came out here to Las Vegas. It sounded like he was supposed to start a new life, but he ended up getting himself into a worse life than the one that he left.
What are the odds? I've never computed them, Captain. Well, they're astronomical, believe me.
Here I am, Tony from Cali, once again at my favorite machine. It's called Max Action. When you win, that dude right there, he hooks up with the girls.
I felt like I put all this money in, and over the period of years, it's going to pay off. I'm going to get it back. I just felt like I just wanted to keep on going until I got what was due to me.
30 times 2. Just got out the Palms. I've been in there for, I don't know, about 30 minutes, maybe a little longer. But I end up losing. Sometimes it happens, like I said. I end up losing my money. And I have $47. End up putting it in the machine. When I lose, I do not want to make a videotape. I don't want nobody to know. And that's what most people do, and they kind of bury it. And what it does, it causes you to be depressed, you know? And I'm trying not to be depressed. I got to keep on going. Getting back in the van.
That feeling that he's describing is shame. And that's something that Phil has been at war with for a very long time. And this is why it's so easy for him to continually put himself out on Front Street and do the degrading things that he does for money while telling himself that he's successful. It's because he has slowly desensitized himself to feeling shame.
Through the passenger side, once again, the driver's door isn't opening correctly. I don't want to break the handle all the way off. You know, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So I just decided, since I bought the van, not to even use that handle, not to even use the driver's side at all, except for...
Look how the brothers' priorities are just all over the place, man. Again, this man had this money already. He could have been got this car fixed or probably have a different car than this, but he'll keep looking past this because every little cent that he can get his hands on is going to that damn casino. This man said he took his last $47. Like, brother, you ain't even got no ketchup. Like, what are you doing?
Except for getting out. So I'm in the van, boom. And all I needed was about 75 bucks because I needed to pay, half of my electric bill or whatever. So it looks like I'll be picking up about another 200 bucks. I'm gonna take one of my computers in to Superpine. And that's one of the things I didn't want to have to do, but when you don't have enough, you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta compensate. There with the cinematography.
I consider the pawn shop my bank. It's a bank for people that didn't have very good credit. Between the payday loan and the pawn shop, those were my two major places because I didn't have credit, and those places offered me, substantial amounts of money. There's my MIDI controller, and there's my other one.
And this is the same cycle that Phil found himself in with the credit cards, right? He started outsourcing his debt. He started trying to get other people to contribute to his issues to the point where he had to eventually declare bankruptcy. And it appears that this guy is on the same pathway. These people get caught up in the cycle of paying for the things that they want and begging for the things that they need. And to try to make you feel bad about not accommodating them, like you supposed to care about their life more than they do.
All right, we're back. To make another transaction with you, sir. None of my merchandise is stolen or anything like that. It's my own merchandise, and everybody knows me. So they said, "Hey, you're a real good customer." They know I have put thousands of dollars in this organization, and when you need a loan, this is what you do. I got 200 bucks, bam.
There's people that go in there and spend, $20, whatever, and they just go in there and they do it as a fun thing. If you go in there and you do it as a fun thing, I mean, sure, you can have fun with it. But I didn't treat it. I started treating it as a money-making system.
Somebody gonna have to hit me on what is fun about losing money. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all, man. I don't like spending money on shit, even the stuff I like. I'm gonna keep it real. So somebody gonna have to let me know what he talking about.
And I thought that it was going to be a money-making system for me. I didn't look at it as being fun anymore.
Having a good day at the bus stop. It's all about enjoying life. And beautiful day today, ain't it?
Vegas sucks.
Huh? Vegas sucks?
We live here, it sucks.
Can I interview you?
I want to go for it.
You see how dude cut him off at the pass because he could feel the fake optimism coming off of him. Nobody believed that. And this is the same thing that Phil does daily on his streams, telling us how good he's doing, how good his life is, all the while it's a house of cards and things are falling apart. And it's very obvious.
Tell me a little bit about it.
City doesn't want to pay enough to survive in here. You barely make check by check. Try not to gamble too much if you live here because you're going to be broke. You gotta have a lot of willpower to even survive in this damn city.
What's your name, man?
It's Paul from Ohio.
Tony. Nice to meet you, man. I'm from Sacramento.
Toledo, Ohio.
Okay. So you saying it can suck you dry if you don't
Manage your money.
if you don't manage your money.
Exactly. That's the whole thing.
That's what I'm
You get addicted to that freaking gambling bug, which is exactly true. That's all I gotta say.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Vegas, come have fun, but don't try to live here.
I think that's probably some of the best advice that you can give people. If you want to because a lot of times people get involved with things because it's something that their friends are doing. And generally speaking, birds of a feather flock together. But if you are a good friend and you find yourself doing something like this, you should not be introducing these things to other people. But oftentimes, misery loves company,
Meeting other gamblers and meeting other people out there, it was sort of a deterrent. They told me, hey, Vegas was built on people spending their money, and I didn't believe that. I believe that, you can come out here and you can really win some money. I've seen stories of people winning $50 million or $100 million, in machines, and they had them posted up in the casino, all these pictures of these people that won. My day is going to come. When is my day coming? It's coming soon. But I got to continue. I can't go by what everyone is telling me out here in Las Vegas.
So the brother got caught up in basically a gold rush, thinking that at some point he was going to make it big. So all the losses were worth it because the big one was just around the corner. And many executives and owners of these casinos have lined their pockets because people like him have ridiculous dreams like that, rooted in absolute delusion.
The money that I spent yesterday was ridiculous. It was kind of stupid to go in there and do that yesterday. You know, theoretically, I could just say, you know what, I'll just leave that in there and I'll just go home for today. But I got a feeling, I got a pretty good feeling that I'm gonna hit something today. This is what I try not to do. I tell myself I'm not gonna do, but this is something that Las Vegas people do. They say they're not gonna do it. Maybe they start off with just a little bit, and the more you make, the more you spend. And
now here we are a year later. Now last year he was talking about things are going to be on the up. He said it was good that he's seen other people that were struggling with the same things that he was struggling with and gave him kind of an eye opener. But here we are a year later and he's doing the same shit that he was doing last year. Who does that sound like?
Right now I've already spent like $800 yesterday. Today I'm gonna try to get some of that money back. I am gonna get some of that money back. I shouldn't even say the word try. I used to go with my cousin and I used to go with my sister, and they would tell me, stop, you're okay, you know, cash out, you got $150, whatever, cash out. And I'll be like, no, it's not enough. You don't know what I lost, I gotta get this money back. So it's almost like a crack addict. I guess you would say, you know, you gotta have it, you gotta keep on going, because in your mind, you know, it's not enough. In someone else's mind, you know, they're like, hey, you're okay, you're at a good level, you got $200 in the machine, you know, get out of here. And they're like, no. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna get out of here. I gotta get more. I gotta get that money back. I just lost $700, you know, but they don't know that. And even if they do know that, they're gonna tell you, hey, you know what? You just lost $700, take your loss and get out of here. So it's one of those things where you almost can't control it.
And you know what this does to you? Especially as a man, this effectively makes you worthless. You're no good to anybody because all you're looking to do is siphon and take from people. You're not looking to build anything, right? So think about his children or the women in his life that he was dealing with, his parents. How many bridges has he burnt before he got to this point? How many times have they told him you need to slow down? But he got an attitude, or maybe he cut them off because he didn't want to hear the truth. Again, who does that sound like?
Well, it didn't happen. I ended up losing the 240. I'm out of here. Gonna go home. Looks like I might be bringing the camera back over to Super Pond. I'm gonna go pay this bill. I have no choice. They'll give me $100 for that. And then I'll take my tripod in. They'll give me $100 for that, so it's $200. Looks like I'm gonna be taking the camera in. I'll show you what it looks like. I don't want to take it in. That's my baby, but I gotta do it. I'm gonna take the camera in the tripod. They're gonna give me $200 for that. You say? Most people don't know when to stop. They take their last dime, their last $25, their last 25 cents, and they put it in the machine to try to get back, and I've done that. I've gambled all the way to where I just had change, and I was like, okay, cash this change in, and I'll turn it into $2, and then took $2 back in. Maybe I can get that money back. And that's when you know that it's hit you pretty hard.
And this is why Phil be tripping about $20 here, $40 there, $50 here. Because that game has preset amounts on its packages, right? $9.99, $10.99, whatever it is. So even if he can't get the big dump for $99, Phil would like to at least grab one for $50 or one for $30 because, you know, in his mind, he's not poor. So he wouldn't dare get the one that's $3.99 or $4.99.
Or when you go and you borrow more money, you go to a payday loan place or something, or a pawn shop, and you go and you pawn your computer, and then you go get the money and you go right back to the casino. And like I said, I gotta go to plan B. Plan B was now, I've lost a total of $1,000. $1,040 I've lost. I'm not very happy with that. Not only have I lost the money, but I lost 2 computers. And now I'm getting ready to go lose my camera and my, not lose it, but get a loan on it. And one of these days I'm hoping that maybe I will hit it big. Maybe I will be able to win $15,000 or something like that, where I can just, you know, pay a lot of bills off and get back on track, you know. But right now, it's very difficult. So the time right now is 4:09 in the evening. So we've been out for a couple hours now. I got off of work at 1 o'clock. That's the Super Pond facility right here, located in Las Vegas. It's one of them. A lot of people come in here and, you know, pawn their worldly goods and whatever.
Now you notice how the brother said he has to go to his plan B. But you notice that his plan B consists of the shit that he's already been doing that's led him to the point that he already is at. He's completely lost in the shuffle, completely lost. And this is why things like interventions are so important, because a lot of times when you're close to the problem, you simply can't see how bad it is. You need someone who's unbiased, who can see it from a bird's eye view and point out every little thing that's going on with it. Because if you're just relying on your own vision, which you can see and feel when you're in the midst of a problem, you're going to make excuses for it. Because a lot of the times, even though the things that we consider a problem or a gambling addiction, they still feel good to us. So we'll find excuses to continue to do it, even though we know it's wrong. We see it all the time, not just with Phil, but people in our own lives, right? Addiction is not new to us, even if it's not something that you yourself are partaking in, all right? So y'all let me know how y'all feel about this. If y'all like this, maybe I'll put out part 2 to this. If not, we'll move on. It is what it is. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Oh, yeah.